Hello, I'm Lawrence Trifon, the COO of Quartile, recording live from the Amazon Port Studio in Cannes. Thrilled to be here today with Nidhi Gai from the Amazon team. I'll let Nidhi introduce herself.
Yeah.
Tell us about
Thank you so much for having me, Lawrence. Excited to be here today. My name is Nidhi Gai. I'm a part of Amazon Ads, and I lead the GGS sales team globally. So excited to be here.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit about what did your role entail as the director of GGS?
Yeah, sure. So a little bit background. I've been at Amazon Ads for about 30. I've been at Amazon for 13 years. My entire time at Amazon has been with Amazon Ads. I'm super proud of that. And I think majority of my 13 years have been spent with SMB, mid-size emerging brands and helping them grow their influence on Amazon, grow their brands with Amazon. So I've been very privileged to work with a lot of small to mid-size advertisers and run a sales team that caters to these advertisers. So that's what the GGS org does.
Fantastic. Yeah. And excited to dive more into that. But before we do that, tell me, what's the last thing you bought on Amazon?
The last thing I bought on Amazon was in preparation of my trip to Cannes, which was a frizz-free hair oil.
Wow.
The humidity, you know.
Yes, it seems to be working very well.
Did you buy that too?
No, I did not. The last thing I bought actually was earplugs. So I sleep with earplugs, especially when I'm traveling. And that's been a good purchase for me, especially with so much going on in the streets in the evening, as I'm sure you've heard.
So true.
Yes.
Great.
Well, fantastic. And maybe before we jump into, it sounds like you've spent a lot of time working with small and mid-size advertisers. Mm-hmm. What do you find most interesting about working with that cohort of folks?
Absolutely. I'm very passionate about working with this segment. I find, and not taking anything away from the enterprise and the large brands, but I find a lot of our SMB brands are so passionate about their products, about the USP of their products, about the market, about the competition, about how do you land your product. To me, it always gets me excited to work with people who are more excited about their products. Also, a lot of our SMB brands and mid-sized brands don't have all the resources. And when I say resources, I mean they don't have the large budgets like some of the big brands and larger brands do. And neither do they have large teams to manage it like some of these larger brands do. So every dollar counts. We have to make sure that we are putting the right strategies in place so that we can drive the results for the brands. And then because they don't have a lot of resources, I think they really depend on Amazon or the partners they work with to really help them get to the end result. So I think as an organization, we play a very pivotal role in helping them achieve their brand goals. And to me, that's an area that I get very passionate about.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah. And at Quartile, we're also servicing mostly small and medium-sized brands. So even brands that can be selling a lot, millions, tens of $1 million online, it's often a team of 5 people, 30 people, et cetera. And
exactly.
I also get a lot of energy working with these entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
And helping them grow their businesses.
So true. So true.
You mentioned, working with them on different strategies and also helping them with the execution. Again, you must have seen this across just a ton of businesses now. Mm-hmm. What are some of the common patterns of success you're seeing in these small and mid-sized brands that are, the success patterns in terms of how they're able to continue to grow and scale their business through Amazon and through the products and services you offer?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think over the years, we've seen some very clear patterns of GGS advertisers who are probably more successful. And if I could bucket them, I'd probably bucket them in 3 different ways. I think the first thing that comes to mind and what I call is a full funnel mindset, advertisers who have that. And when I say that, I mean that advertisers who are not myopically focused on driving conversions and short-term ROAS and purchases, who are actually stepping back and strategically thinking about awareness and consideration and the role that plays in the entire customer journey. And we find that brands who invest in all the 3 areas of the customer journey in the long term tend to be more successful. The second thing I'd say is advertisers who are a lot more data driven. I think there's advertisers are now putting all the guesswork out because I think there is so much we can do with tools like AMC where you can really understand and go beneath the surface level and understand what audiences are really working for you, what kind of targeting strategies can I put in place. So there's a lot more data that we have available now that brands can leverage to build smarter campaigns. And the third and the last thing I would say is a growth mindset. Brands who are agile. I mean, our marketplace is very dynamic. It's very competitive. So brands who are willing to test and learn, test new features, understand the outcome of those. How do you mold them into your strategy? So I think brands who are willing to pivot very quickly are the ones that show us a lot of success long term.
Yeah.
So those are three things.
Yeah. Makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And I guess on the flip side, is there any, common failure patterns or roadblocks? I mean, is it just the opposite of those things or anything else that you'd call out?
I would say the opposite of those things, So I think sometimes where we see brands not succeeding fast enough is, when you're not tying there is obviously you need to focus on the short term, goals because it's important to gain the momentum in the short term to keep going. But where strategy really comes in is when you're also thinking long term, when you're also thinking the customer lifetime value, and you're thinking, how do I bring brand loyalty? And those are the kind of things, when they work together, they become strategic partnerships. And when we fail to do so, sometimes we get stuck at the bottom funnel.
Yeah, exactly. We see that a ton too. And to your point earlier, it is a hard trade-off, especially in a resource-constrained small business focused on kind of the immediacy. It's the thing that's very easy to measure. It's hard to balance that short-term surviving to the next day, the next week with the longer term. So that's something that we're always trying to work with our clients on as well, as balancing both.
I think Quartile does a really good job of that. I mean, you guys are, especially when it comes to full funnel advertising and helping brands understand the value of awareness and the value of consideration. But what I really like about the Quartile team is that it's not you're not pushing upper funnel, from the get-go. It's how do you actually take measured strategic approach to really grow that upper funnel strategy over time. It's not overnight.
That's right.
So I really like that.
Yeah, gradually building towards it. Yeah. And you talked a little bit about AMC.
Yeah.
What are, if you were a small, medium-sized business today coming into the Amazon ecosystem, are there specific programs, product capabilities, services that you would point folks to really be taken advantage of?
Yes, totally. And I think that's the thing we're observing with a lot of advertisers now, that it's not, advertising is no longer like one size fits all. It's all about reaching the right shopper at the right time and making your marketing dollars go a long way with that. And I think Amazon has some really great tools and programs we have in place to offer. I think the first thing I'd say is our DSP, the Amazon DSP. I think it really enables advertisers to reach the audiences and shoppers, not just on Amazon, but outside the walls of Amazon, using the same first-party data and our audiences that they find on Amazon. And I think that really, goes back to fill the awareness and the consideration bucket that I was talking about. And at the same time, I think the Amazon DSP complements sponsored ads in a great way, because you work with, you invest with Amazon DSP. It helps you get these new customers into the funnel. And then sponsored ads works its magic to really get these new customers into the purchase funnel and conversions. So I think they really complement one another. I think the second product, as you just mentioned, is AMC. I think it's really been a game changer for us for advertisers who want to really understand and get deeper insights about their audiences. I mean, things like what's my path to purchase, or how many touch points does it take me to actually get a conversion? These kind of questions can now be answered through AMC, and I think that's definitely been game changing for a lot of SMB brands for us. And then again, we have a lot of tools when it comes to creative and measurement. With creative, with Gen AI, AI generated creative is one thing that's helping a lot of SMB brands. And then measurement solutions, I think we have a lot of both first party, like Amazon owned measurement solutions, and we work with a lot of third party measurement solutions as well. So brands that are interested to understand things like what's my incremental reach on my video investments, or what's my brand lift, on my investments. I think those are the kind of things that now we also offer to a lot of brands who are interested.
Yeah, that all resonates with me. And those are the kinds of things we see our clients very interested in, kind of learning more about, taking advantage of. And then when you think about the human side of it, like your team, you run a large team and similar teams in Amazon, how do advertisers engage there and what's available for folks there?
I mean, tools can only go so far. And I think that's where our sales teams and you guys as partners step in. I really think of us as co-pilots and working alongside brands, helping them understand. I mean, I will admit a lot of our tools and products are not super simple. They're complex. And it's a lot. It can be overwhelming for some of the small brands to understand the complexity behind which product should I be using. Should I be investing in sponsored brands, or should I be investing in, DSP? And should I be running display advertising? What should be my remarketing strategy be? And I think that's where our sales team really plays a critical role, because not only do they understand these products, they are experts, and they're equally invested in making these brands successful. So, at times we work directly with brands, at times we work directly with partners to making sure that we're all holistically working towards driving to the bigger goal, which is brand success.
Yeah. And, if you're a small, medium-sized brand, how would you think about, when's the right time to think about leveraging a managed service partner versus doing it yourself? Is there any kind of heuristic you'd think about for when's the right time to do that?
I think I wouldn't know when's the right, like hard to say when's the right time to do that. But I feel like from our basics is sponsored ads. And I think ensuring that a brand first understands how you win in the store, you understand like the basics of advertising. And then when you want to grow your upper funnel investments, which is going outside the store, really getting into that full funnel, I think that's where our DSP offerings, which are both managed service and self-service, come into play. We do really recommend that a lot of our SMB brands work with partners for the managed service piece, because they get that the service layer of handholding them, making sure that these campaigns are set up for success and they're getting optimized for the right outcomes, and then grow from there. So I think it depends for each brand. It's a different journey, so it's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
But I think for our managed service, we really want to make sure we work with partners to encourage that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think one of the patterns we see in terms of why clients would come to a partner like Quartile and the value they get out of it. One is just the leverage. Again, if it's you're a small team, do you want to hire people to do this, or do you want to focus on your core competency and outsource some of the work?
Yeah.
And also, sometimes working with the partner, you get the advantage of not just seeing your own business if you're trying to run it yourself, but you actually get the expertise across seeing thousands of clients and patterns and all that kind of thing too.
Totally. And sometimes access to some of the tools like AMC and things like that, which is not always easy for a SMB advertiser to have direct access to. So I think the partners really help us in that space too.
That's great.
Yeah, we have to even the playing field, right?
Yes. Democratizing retail media is one of the themes that we keep hearing about this week. Yeah.
And I can speak to that on how I think Amazon in general, I think, is very, very passionate about this. We think about this a lot, like not just large brands, regardless of the size of a brand, whether you're a large brand or a small or a medium-sized business, we want to make sure that all our brands have access to some of the powerful tools that we have. And, the first thing is democratizing what we call a streaming TV. With the launch of sponsored TV. There was a time where TV advertising was only for the large advertisers because it was so expensive. And with the launch of sponsored TV and the lower thresholds and spend thresholds on that product, now a lot of SMB advertisers can showcase their brand on one of the most sought after screens in every household, right? So you can get the brand recognition, you can get the awareness without having a blockbuster budget. So I think that's definitely one thing. AMC that we've spoken about a whole lot, but I think getting access to AMC through our partners and being able to really understand, audiences better through AMC, I think has been a game changer too. And then Performance Plus, I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with that, but through our Amazon DSP, I think Performance Plus really helps us with real-time campaign optimizations. You're using obviously the brand goals with the first-party data, with all our machine learning models, and really helping brands to reach Amazon shoppers in a personalized yet scalable way on and off of Amazon, and doing real-time optimizations on these campaigns. So I think these are all some of the tools that are really going to help SMB brands and honestly level the playing field for everybody.
Yeah. That's great. Well, this I think's been super insightful and hopefully helpful for a lot of folks out there.
Yeah.
Maybe zooming out from just the Amazon ecosystem as you've been here in Cannes.
Yeah.
Anything catching your eye or anything of particular interest this week?
This is my third time in Cannes, and I almost always leave awestruck because I don't know if you ever go into the auditorium where they actually show all the
I've been over there.
art. It's amazing sometimes when you see some of these creative ads. And a lot of times there's so much tied to sustainability and, how advertising can actually, not just impact brands and shopping behaviors, but also the planet and people, and you realize that we're all very privileged to be in this industry. But I think some of the things that I see everywhere is AI.
Yeah.
I don't think I've sat in any meeting or any panel where artificial intelligence has not come up, and using AI for content generation, using AI for creative generation, using AI for campaign optimization. So it's everywhere. And I think it's super important and super cool. So just learning a lot about AI advancements. And then I think the other thing is retail media. There's a lot of talk around that, how it's going to surpass linear TV in 2026. And I think, again, Amazon Ads has an advantage there. We're built on a very strong retail business, and we've been doing this for a long time. But a lot of brands now see the value of advertising through commerce, channels and things like that. So to me, those have been a few things that have been very insightful at Cannes.
That's great. That's great.
What about you? What have you found? Anything surprising? Anything insightful?
Yeah, I don't know, surprising, but same thing, all the conversation, of course, around generative AI. To me, I think it's just very exciting, especially for the business that we're in, because creative generation, as you probably know, that's one of the biggest bottlenecks for unlocking success, right? Across, advertising and other marketing for SMBs. Again, having the time and the resources to do everything from creative content to personalization so seeing that now starting to really become a reality is very exciting, and I think will just unlock a lot for these businesses.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, thanks so much for sitting down today.
Thank you so much,
This was
Lawrence.
awesome.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks so much.